Did you know that as you watch this, beneath the Straits of Mackinac, the 4.5-mile wide channel where Lake Michigan meets Lake Huron, there sits a 72-year-old Canadian-owned oil pipeline carrying 23 million gallons of crude oil and natural gas every single day, sitting in open water next to 84% of North America's available surface freshwater. Or that in 2014, the city of Flint, Michigan, switched its water supply to a corrosive river, poisoned about 100,000 people with lead, and it took 11 years to finish replacing every pipe, with the final lead service line removed in July 2025. Or that the longest-running predator-prey study in the history of science is happening right now on an isolated island in Lake Superior, and that in 2024, the wolf population stood at 30, the moose population at 840, and the entire experiment continues to defy every prediction scientists have made about it. Michigan is not just the mitten. It is the only state surrounded by 4 of the 5 Great Lakes. It has more freshwater coastline than any state except Alaska. It built the modern American auto industry and is currently the front line of one of the largest infrastructure standoffs in the United States. So settle in. We are counting down the 25 strangest things happening in Michigan right now. Stick around to the end. What we saved for last is the pipeline. Line 5, the 4.5-mile stretch of 72-year-old pipe on the bottom of the Straits that the governor of Michigan and the Bay Mills Indian community have been trying to shut down since 2019, that a federal judge ruled in December 2025 they cannot touch, and that in 2026 is still pumping. Coming in at number 25, the shape. Right now, Michigan is the only state in the United States made up of 2 completely separated peninsulas. The Lower Peninsula, which looks like a mitten, and the Upper Peninsula, which looks like, mostly, the state of Wisconsin's hat. Together, they are surrounded by 4 of the 5 Great Lakes, Superior to the north, Michigan to the west, Huron to the east, and Erie to the south. Michigan has 3,288 miles of freshwater coastline, more than any state in America except Alaska, and more than the entire Atlantic seaboard of the United States combined. You are never more than 6 miles from a body of water anywhere in the state. Moving on to fact 24, the water. Right now, the 5 Great Lakes contain approximately 21% of the world's surface fresh water and roughly 84% of the fresh water in North America. That is 6 quadrillion gallons. Lake Superior alone is the largest freshwater lake on planet Earth by surface area, over 31,000 square miles, deep enough at its deepest point to swallow the Empire State Building, cold enough at its bottom to never thaw above 39 degrees Fahrenheit, and large enough that its surface area exceeds the entire country of Austria. Michigan is, by some reasonable measures, the most water-rich political jurisdiction in the world. Next up, fact 23, the bridge. Right now, spanning the Straits of Mackinac, connecting Michigan's Upper and Lower Peninsulas, sits the Mackinac Bridge, known to every Michigander as the Mighty Mac. It is 5 miles long, 552 feet tall at its highest tower, and from its opening in November 1957 until 1998, it was the longest suspension bridge in the Western Hemisphere. Every Labor Day, the state closes the bridge to vehicles for a few hours so that tens of thousands of people can walk across it. It is the only day of the year the bridge is open to pedestrians. The water below it is 295 feet deep. And the pipeline we are saving for last sits on the bottom of it. Sitting at number 22, the island that never let cars in. Right now, just east of the Mackinac Bridge in Lake Huron sits Mackinac Island. A 4-square-mile patch of land that has had a complete ban on motor vehicles since July 6, 1898. That is 6 years before Henry Ford even built his Model T. The island is reachable only by ferry. Roughly 500 horses live and work there during the summer season. There are 1,500 rental bicycles. There is one paved highway, Michigan State Highway M185, and it is the only state highway in the entire United States where automobiles are not allowed. The fudge industry there is, by most accounts, more than a century old. The horses are the taxi service. The whole place runs on hoofbeats. Up next, Fact 21, the most Michigan thing in Michigan. Right now, if you ask any Michigander where they are from, there is roughly a 100% chance they will hold up their right hand, palm facing you, and point to a specific spot on it. The Lower Peninsula of Michigan is genuinely shaped like a left-side palm-up mitten, and every person born there learns to use their actual hand as a map of their home state from approximately age 4. Detroit is at the base of the thumb. Grand Rapids is on the pinky side. Traverse City is up at the top knuckle. The mitten is, statistically, the only state in America that doubles as personal anatomy. Honestly, if Michigan literally fits in the palm of your hand, the least you can do is hit the subscribe button. It is free, and the rest of this list gets stranger. Back to it. Now we move to number 20, the people up north. Right now, separated from the rest of Michigan by the Straits of Mackinac, live approximately 300,000 people known to themselves and the rest of the state as Upers, from UP, short for Upper Peninsula. They are geographically attached to Wisconsin. They are culturally attached to nothing else on Earth. They have their own dialect, heavily influenced by Finnish, Cornish, and Swedish immigrants who came to work the iron and copper mines in the late 1800s. They eat a meat and potato hand pie called a pasty, brought over from Cornwall. They call people from the Lower Peninsula trolls because they live below the bridge. In 2012, a movement briefly tried to secede the UP from Michigan and form a new state called Superior. It did not succeed. They are still trying. Landing at number 19, the sand. Right now, on the eastern shore of Lake Michigan, towering up to 450 feet above the lake, sit the Sleeping Bear Dunes, the largest collection of freshwater coastal dunes on planet Earth. The dunes are 35 miles long and made of glacial sand left behind 11,000 years ago when the last ice age retreated. Visitors can attempt the dune climb, a steep 284-foot wall of soft sand that takes most adults about 45 minutes to ascend and significantly less to fall down. In 2011, ABC's Good Morning America named the Sleeping Bear Dunes the most beautiful place in America. People at the National Park Service still bring this up. For number 18, the cliffs. Right now, along about 42 miles of the Upper Peninsula's Lake Superior shoreline run the Pictured Rocks, multicolored sandstone cliffs streaked with mineral stains in red, orange, blue, green, brown, and black. The colors come from iron, manganese, copper, and limonite seeping out of the rock face. The cliffs rise up to 200 feet straight out of the water. They were designated the first national lakeshore in the United States in 1966. They are only accessible by boat, kayak, or the most patient hiking imaginable. Native Anishinaabe peoples have considered them sacred for thousands of years. The Western world only fully mapped them in the 19th century. At number 17, the Rock. Right now, scattered along the beaches of northern Lake Michigan, especially near a town literally named Petoskey, lie thousands of fossilized colonial coral stones that you can pick up off the sand. Petoskey stones are the fossilized remains of a coral species called Hexagonaria percarinata, which lived in the warm, shallow sea that covered Michigan approximately 350 million years ago, long before there were dinosaurs. The fossils are six-sided, distinctive, and most of them only show their pattern when wet. Michigan made it the official state stone in 1965 and made it illegal to remove more than 25 pounds per year. People still smuggle them. Cracking the top 16 at number 16, the war that no one died in. In 1835, Michigan was a territory trying to become a state. Ohio was an established state. Both wanted the same 468 square mile sliver of land along their shared border, a strip that included the city of Toledo. Both sides mobilized armed militias. Both sides marched. Both sides shouted threats across the swamp. Total casualties from what historians call the Toledo War were exactly: one Ohio sheriff stabbed in the leg with a penknife by a Michigander who then escaped. To resolve the standoff, Congress gave Ohio the Toledo Strip and gave Michigan, as a consolation prize, the entire Upper Peninsula. Michigan thought it had been robbed. Then they found iron ore, copper, timber, and Lake Superior shoreline up there. They stopped complaining. For number 15, the sound of young America. In 1959, in a two-story house at 2648 West Grand Boulevard in Detroit, a former Ford assembly line worker named Barry Gordy founded a small record label with an $800 loan from his family. He called it Motown, short for Motor Town. Over the next decade, Motown Records, working out of a basement studio they called Hitsville, USA, produced Stevie Wonder, Smokey Robinson, Marvin Gaye, The Supremes, The Temptations, The Jackson 5, and The Four Tops. Between 1961 and 1971, Motown released 110 #1 singles on the Billboard charts. The house is still there. It is now a museum. They still keep the studio set up exactly the way it was in 1965. At number 14, breakfast. Right now, in the small Michigan city of Battle Creek, population about 50,000, sit the global headquarters of both Kellogg's and Post cereal. The two companies were founded in Battle Creek in the late 1800s by, respectively, a Seventh-day Adventist sanitarium operator named John Harvey Kellogg and his former patient, a businessman named C.W. Post. The cereal flake itself was, by most accounts, accidentally invented by Kellogg in 1894 when he left some boiled wheat sitting out too long. Today, Battle Creek calls itself the cereal capital of the world. The annual Cereal Festival every June serves what is possibly the world's longest breakfast table. Tony the Tiger lives there. Honestly. For number 13, The Line. On October 7, 1913, at the Ford Motor Company's Highland Park plant in Metro Detroit, a man named Henry Ford ran the first moving automotive assembly line in human history. The time it took to build a Model T fell from 12 hours to 93 minutes. The cost of the car fell with it. By 1925, Ford was producing one Model T every 24 seconds. The system was so efficient that in 1914, Ford could afford to pay his workers $5 a day, roughly double the going rate, which more or less invented the American middle class. The assembly line escaped Highland Park and now builds everything in the world. Now we move to Fact 12, the secret city. Right now, 1,200 feet beneath the city of Detroit, beneath Dearborn, beneath Allen Park, beneath Melvindale, sits a 1,500-acre rock salt mine with over 100 miles of underground roads. The salt deposit is roughly 400 million years old, left over from an evaporated sea that once covered the Michigan Basin during the Devonian period. The mine has been actively operating since 1910. Most of the salt is now used for road de-icing, the stuff that gets dumped on highways across the Midwest every winter. The mine is closed to public tours. The city above does not know. At number 11, the manufacturers. Right now, headquartered within roughly 50 miles of downtown Detroit, sit the three largest American automakers: General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis, the company that owns Chrysler. They are collectively known as the Big Three. They directly employ approximately 200,000 people in Michigan and produced roughly a quarter of all motor vehicles assembled in the United States in the past year. Michigan is home to the United Auto Workers Union, which struck against all three companies simultaneously in the fall of 2023, the first time in its 88-year history. The strike won historic wage increases. The companies are now in the middle of their largest transition in 100 years, from gasoline to electric vehicles. Cracking the top 10 at number 10, the collapse. On July 18, 2013, the city of Detroit filed for Chapter 9 bankruptcy protection. It was the largest municipal bankruptcy in the history of the United States, approximately $18 to $20 billion in debt, depending on whose accounting you trust. The city had lost more than 60% of its population since 1950. Tens of thousands of buildings sat abandoned. The fire department response time was over 30 minutes. Detroit emerged from bankruptcy in December 2014 after restructuring its debt, with a special deal called the Grand Bargain that protected the Detroit Institute of Arts collection from being sold off to pay creditors. The city has rebounded in some neighborhoods. It has not rebounded in others. Detroit is, in 2026, still missing a generation. For number 9, the wreck. On November 10, 1975, the SS Edmund Fitzgerald, a 729-foot iron ore freighter, the largest ship on the Great Lakes when it was launched in 1958, was caught in a brutal storm on Lake Superior. Hurricane-force winds hit 90 miles per hour. Waves reached 35 feet. The ship sent its last radio transmission at 7:10 p.m. "We are holding our own," and then disappeared from radar. All 29 crew members died. The wreck sits in 530 feet of water, 17 miles from Whitefish Point. Nobody knows precisely what caused the ship to sink: a hatch failure, a structural break, a rogue wave, and the families of the crew have asked that the wreck never be salvaged. The 1976 Gordon Lightfoot song about the disaster is, statistically, the only top 10 Billboard hit ever written about a Great Lakes shipwreck. At number 8, the poisoning. In April 2014, in an effort to save approximately $5 million over 2 years, the financially struggling city of Flint, Michigan, switched its drinking water source from the Detroit municipal system to the Flint River, without applying corrosion inhibitors. Over the next 18 months, the corrosive river water stripped lead out of the city's aging pipes and into the homes of roughly 100,000 residents, including thousands of children. The crisis killed at least 12 people through Legionella bacteria and caused widespread, documented developmental damage. 9 government officials, including former Governor Rick Snyder, were charged with felony counts. Most charges were eventually dismissed or dropped. The settlement totaled $626 million. The last lead pipe in Flint was replaced in July 2025, 11 years after the crisis began. The first settlement payments started arriving in December of that year. Coming in at number 7, the wolves and the moose. Right now, on Isle Royale National Park in Lake Superior, a 45-mile-long wilderness island 24 miles from the nearest land, Michigan's only national park, is taking place the longest-running predator-prey study in the entire history of science. It began in 1958 with a Purdue University graduate student named L. David Meck. It has continued every year except 2021 for 66 years. The most recent winter survey, completed by Michigan Tech researchers Sarah Hoy, John Vucetich, and Rolf Peterson in early 2024, counted 30 wolves and 840 moose on the island. The moose population has fallen 60% since 2019. The wolves were rebooted with 19 new wolves released between 2018 and 2019 after inbreeding collapsed the population to just 2. They are watching in real time what happens to an isolated ecosystem on an island that the rest of the world cannot touch. Up next, Fact 6. The fish trying to get in. Right now, swimming up the Mississippi River system from the Gulf of Mexico are 4 species of invasive Asian carp: bighead, silver, grass, and black, that have been spreading north since they escaped catfish farms in the American South in the 1970s. They eat 40% of their body weight in plankton every day. They jump up to 10 feet out of the water when startled by boat engines, regularly injuring people. They are, right now, within an estimated 50 miles of Lake Michigan. The only thing standing between them and the Great Lakes is a series of electrical barriers in the Chicago Sanitary and Ship Canal designed to shock and repel them. If they get into the Great Lakes, scientists estimate the $7 billion regional fishing industry would collapse within a decade. The barriers, so far, are holding. For number 5, the contamination. Right now, in over 11,000 confirmed locations across the state of Michigan, sit measurable concentrations of a family of industrial compounds collectively known as PFAS, per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances, also called forever chemicals, because they essentially do not break down in nature. They are found in non-stick cookware, firefighting foam, food packaging, and stain-resistant fabrics. They accumulate in the human body. They are linked to cancer, immune dysfunction, and developmental damage. Michigan has the most documented PFAS contamination sites of any U.S. state, partly because it has aggressively tested for them. Some of the worst contamination comes from former military bases and shoe factories. The state set drinking water limits in 2020 that are stricter than the federal standard. The chemicals are, by definition, still there. At number 4, the climate. Right now, the Great Lakes are warming faster than nearly any large body of fresh water on Earth. Average winter ice cover has fallen from approximately 40% of the lake's surface area in the 1970s to under 20% today. Lake Superior, which is supposed to be the world's largest freshwater lake, set a record for the lowest ice cover in modern history in the winter of 2024. Warmer water means more evaporation, more lake-effect snow downwind, longer growing seasons for algae, and dramatic year-to-year water level swings. The lakes hit a record high water level in 2020. They hit a near-record low 5 years before that. Communities built on the shoreline are, in some places, watching their houses fall into the water. The lakes themselves are doing fine. The infrastructure built around them is not. For number 3, the choke point. Right now, the Straits of Mackinac, the 4.5-mile-wide channel of water that connects Lake Michigan and Lake Huron, handle some of the most concentrated cargo and freshwater shipping in North America. The Mackinac Bridge crosses it. Underneath the bridge, at depths of up to 295 feet, sits a section of lake bed that has been described by environmental researchers as one of the worst possible places on Earth to put an oil pipeline. The currents at the Straits are some of the most complicated in the entire Great Lakes system. They reverse direction. They run faster than tidal currents. They mix water from 2 different lakes, and they sit underneath the Mackinac Bridge, a National Historic Engineering Landmark, the symbol of the entire state. A spill in the Straits would, depending on weather, contaminate at least one of two enormous freshwater seas within hours. There is, on the bottom, a pipeline. Number 2. The pipeline. Right now, lying on the lakebed of the Straits of Mackinac sits a 4.5-mile section of twin oil and natural gas pipelines, collectively known as Line 5. It is owned by the Canadian energy company Bridge. It was built in 1953. It is 72 years old. It carries approximately 23 million gallons of crude oil and natural gas liquids per day, about 540,000 barrels, from Wisconsin, across Michigan's Upper Peninsula, under the Straits, and through the Lower Peninsula into Ontario. The original design lifespan was 50 years. It has now been operating for more than 70. In 2018, a passing tugboat's anchor strike was found to have damaged the pipeline. In 2017, Bridge engineers disclosed that 3 years prior, they had discovered gaps in the protective coating. The 1953 easement that allows the pipeline to sit on Michigan's state-owned lakebed required the pipeline to have supports every 75 feet. By 2014, dozens of those supports were missing. And finally, at number 1, the case. Right now, in 2026, Line 5 is at the center of one of the largest infrastructure standoffs in the United States. In November 2020, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer revoked the 1953 easement that allowed Enbridge to operate the underwater section of Line 5, citing what her administration called persistent and incurable safety violations. The same year, Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel filed a separate lawsuit in state court to void the easement entirely. Both Democrats. Both campaigned on shutting Line 5 down. The opposition is led by Whitney Gravel, president of the Bay Mills Indian Community, one of 12 federally recognized tribal nations in Michigan, whose treaty fishing rights in the Straits, recognized by the United States in 1836, would be functionally destroyed by an oil spill in those waters. In Wisconsin, a federal judge has separately ordered Enbridge to shut down the portion of Line 5 that runs across the Bad River Band of Lake Superior Chippewa Reservation. That ruling is on appeal. Enbridge has fought back at every level. The company argues that the Federal Pipeline Safety Act preempts any state authority to shut down an interstate pipeline, and that the United States-Canada Treaty of 1977 protects the cross-border flow of energy. In December 2025, a federal judge named Robert Jonker agreed. Michigan, he ruled, lacks the legal power to shut Line 5 down. Enbridge's proposed long-term solution is to build a new pipeline encased in a concrete tunnel drilled 100 feet beneath the lakebed of the Straits. The tunnel project has been approved by Michigan utility regulators. It is awaiting final permits from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Construction is projected to take, at minimum, 5 years. The current pipeline will continue to operate the entire time. In 2010, an aging Enbridge pipeline in southwestern Michigan called Line 6B ruptured near the town of Marshall. It spilled approximately 1 million gallons of heavy crude oil into the Kalamazoo River. The cleanup took 4 years. The cost exceeded $1 billion. The Straits of Mackinac is not a river. It is the connection point between two of the 5 Great Lakes, the lakes that hold 21% of the world's surface fresh water and 84% of North America's. A worst-case spill at the Straits would, depending on weather and current direction, contaminate the drinking water supply of an estimated 40 million people across 2 countries. The pipeline is 72 years old. The original design lifespan was 50. The state cannot shut it down. The tunnel is not yet built. The Bay Mills Indian Community is appealing. The Federal Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration says everything is fine. Right now, at the bottom of the Straits, the oil is still flowing. When does Line 5 leak, and what happens to the Great Lakes when it does? So tell us, Which of these 25 facts about Michigan was the one that genuinely changed how you see it? Drop it in the comments. And if you are from Michigan or have ever spent real time there, tell us what we missed. If you noticed any pronunciation slips, thank you for your patience. We are learning. If you made it this far and you learned something, drop a like and hit subscribe if you want more. Every week we change how you see another place on Earth. We'll see you next time.